All right, let's do this. Trapezoids, rhombus, kite, done. Parallelogram, triangle, done. Now circle. This is given to you on the formula sheet. I know it's a tough one to remember, right? Pi times your radius squared. And a reminder with that formula, there is no diameter version. It's only radius. Okay, it is only radius. All right, there's no diameter version. And I am not going to spend a lot of time on the area of a circle. I have one question and that's it. There's something else I really want to work on today instead of just area of a circle. So here you go. Example 1, find me the radius if you know the area is 95. Okay, area is 95. What must be the radius line? So we already pi r squared. All right, let's roll. Where's the 95 going in? Where do I plug the 95 in? Actually, I'm going to get better here. Let's get better. Let's get better. Where's that 95 going in? Oh, this going deep. Emma, go ahead. Where's that 95 going in?
In the area.
Area, good. So here we go. 95 equals pi r squared. All right, I'll give you guys a minute to think. How do I get r by itself now? How do I get r by itself? What's the first step to get r by itself? I just forgot to write the numbers down. And I can tell you it is not taking the square root of both sides right now. You are not ready to take the square root of both sides because r squared is not by itself. So taking the square root of both sides, not the way to go here yet. Okay, there we go. Let's get back to the numbers. What do you want to do next? Algebra now. What are we doing next? Quincy, what are we doing next?
Find the square root of both.
I can't take the square root now. I can't do this because I don't know what I'm going to be left with. You need r squared to be all by itself before you take the square root of both sides. So get the pi out of there, everyone. Get the pi out of there. Divide by pi, divide by pi. R squared equals, now I get it. Everyone's going to their calculator right now. 95 divided by pi, and they're looking at this. What are we not doing to that number? Round it. You're not touching it. So you have two choices. You can either write out that whole decimal right now on your paper or just leave it as 95 over pi. Don't round it. You're not ready yet. We're not done with the problem. Now, r squared's all by itself. Yes, now I want to take the square root of everything. And now you can round to the nearest hundredth. With units. 5.50 centimeters. Questions, comments? We all good solving that algebraically, no issues. All right, I don't want to talk about area of a circle today. I want to talk about area part of a circle. Part of a circle, finding the area. Go ahead, Maeve, go ahead.
I'm just confused still why you can't square, find the square root first.
Okay, so here, pi r squared. What's that going to be equal to then?
Pi r.
Pi r?
Yeah.
Okay, so by definition, ready? Here you go. If I take the square root of 36, you're going to get 6, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Which means I could square it and I should get whatever was underneath the radical back. That's the definition of square root, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if I take pi r and square it, I'm going to get pi squared r squared. That was not underneath the radical, though. Okay, so what you told me it was equal to, it's not. Because when I go back and square it, I don't get what was originally underneath the radical. See what I'm talking about?
Yes.
It actually becomes the square root of pi. That's what you end up with, is r times the square root of pi. If you took the square root of everything. Okay? Good. Way to call me out. I like it. I liked it. Like to be challenged. So I want you guys to find a piece of the circle. And when I say piece, we got a vocab term. Sector. Sector. That's a piece of the circle. Yes, you can think of it as a piece of pie, piece of pizza, all my favorite toppings. By the way, anybody do the fruit toppings? Get out of here. The pineapple. It
goes well.
No, it does not. It belongs in a fruit salad. It does not. Anchovies, anybody? Anybody, or you just don't want to admit it? It's fine. Peppers.
I just don't like pizza.
Okay. That's odd, but it's fine. Well, you're in the minority, but it's fine. Okay.
I'd make pizza with it.
Peppers, anybody? That's also another choice you don't hear much.
My mom gets those artisan ones. They make aromas.
Those are
They're
decent.
basically salads on pizzas, but it works.
Yeah, when you start throwing like the lettuce and stuff on there, we're getting a little crazy. All right, just old school cheese, anybody? Just way to go. Old school cheese, maybe pepperoni sausage if you're into that. Little buffalo chicken, not bad. Any others I'm missing here? Broccoli.
But for the texture is weird with mushrooms.
I'm not a mushroom guy. I don't know. Okay, great talk, everyone. Sorry, I tried to get away from math for a second. God forbid. All right, sector of a circle. We're going to just find a piece, the area of the circle. So it's not going to be full pi r squared. I don't need the full area. I just need part of it. So everyone, I don't know if you remember or not, but last unit, I had you guys find the length of an arc. Okay, and we had two formulas for it. One if your angle was in degrees, the central angle, and one if the central angle was in another type of units called radians. Same thing with the sector. Same thing. So if you're in degrees, I'm going to use this formula. And half of this formula is going to look familiar. Your angle, actually, you know what? Let me get more detailed. Your central angle, central angle over 360. That looked kind of familiar, isn't it? The start of that formula? That's how we started the length of an arc last unit. But instead, I multiplied it by pi d, circumference. Instead, now I'm going to multiply it by, I'm not taking a piece of the circumference, I'm taking a piece of the what? Area. So how do you think I'm going to finish this bad boy? Pi r squared. Okay? That's if your angle's in degrees. What if it's in radians? I guess you could convert it back to degrees and use this formula, or you could use the radian formula, which is 1/2 your radius squared times theta, Greek symbol theta. Don't get freaked out by it. All it means is central angle, but it's got to be in radians. So the radians go in for that Greek symbol theta. All right, here's the deal. Just like when we did arc length in last unit with the circles, you guys got to make a choice right now. A personal decision by you. Do I memorize both formulas? If not, if I just memorize one, then I better be able to convert into degrees or radians. So for example, if you just remember the degree formula, central angle over 360 times pi r squared, but you do a problem on a quiz that's in radians, and you don't remember the radian formula, you're going to have to convert back to degrees. And at the bottom down here, because I don't have time to review it with you, is how to convert. Okay? What do I multiply by if I go from radians to degrees? And what do I multiply by if I go from degrees to radians? So that's a personal decision by you guys. Do you remember both formulas, or just roll the dice and remember one, but be able to convert? I'll let that decision up to you. Okay? I'll leave it up to you. All right, let's do it. I only have 3 problems, as you can see here today. Find the area, radius of 8, central angle of 60. Just to show you what this looks like. Radius of 8, central angle of 60. Find the area of this sector. Wonder if let's see, is it good enough to do this? No, I didn't think so. I'm going to keep pressing my luck. Ready, kids? Let's see if you can do this. What if I use the lines instead? Does that help? No. Great. All right, central angle is in degrees. So I would probably use the degree formula unless you want to get real nuts and convert it into radians and use the radians formula. So I got 60 over 360. That's my central angle over 360 times the area. Pi times 8 squared. Hey, anybody take a peek at the answers? What are all your answers having it? All the multiple choices have what? Pi, so you better leave your answer in terms of pi. Remember how to leave your answer in terms of pi. Basically multiply everything on your calculator except pi. So in the calculator, 60 over 360 times 64. And then we'll put the pi in the answer. If you're getting a decimal out, which many of you may be getting a decimal, just a heads up, review again, how do I convert it back to a fraction? Right below your alpha button on the left-hand side, right below the alpha button, you got a math button. First choice is change it into a fraction. So you can change your decimal back into a fraction to match one of your choices. And that choice, 32 pi over 3 inches. Any questions from you guys? All right, I am going to leave number 3, up to you guys now. I like this one a lot. You got 4 kids. I don't even know, maybe adults, I don't know. 4 people trying to find the area of sector COB. A couple of them are right, a couple of them are wrong. Here we go. And I am going to call on 4 people who's going to represent Amy, Beth, Carl, C-Dog as his friends call him, and Big Dex. You're going to represent those guys and tell me if they're right or wrong. And if they are wrong, be prepared to tell me why. All right. Sector BOC, not triangle, not the triangle BOC, the sector. Radii and the arc that connects them. So you guys take your time right now, go through each person. Are they right or wrong? And if they are wrong, be prepared to tell me why.
When it says that sector COB, it means O is the midpoint and then the arc of COB.
Correct. Yep.
Not
It's kind of like an angle. Just follow it. COB. And because they called it a sector, you know it's got to be the radii and the arc in between. Okay, because the sector will never be formed by chords, only radii. That's something different that's formed by chords. Which now that I think of it, we should have done this year. Now that we have more time. We should have found that part of the arc formed by chord CB.
when it comes to the circle formula, it's only the radius that's being squared, right?
Correct. Yes, correct. Yep. Because if pi was being squared, it'd all be in parentheses. Oh, what do we say? All right, who's up first? Representing Amy. Representing Amy. Hannah. How did Amy do?
She's wrong.
Oh, she is incorrect. Can you explain to me why she's incorrect, Hannah?
Because BC isn't a radius,
It's a what?
it's a chord.
Thank you. Love the vocabulary. Great job, Hannah. Amy, you don't belong here. Have some self-respect. Beth. Representing Beth. 12. Here we go, Lucas. How's Beth look?
Good.
All right, she is correct. There's not much else you got to say here, guys. 108's the angle. OC's a radius. Pi r squared. Okay, everything you need to. Here's where the fun happens now. C dog, Carl. Nine. You ready to go, Audrey?
Mhm.
How did Carl do?
He's incorrect.
He's incorrect.
Mhm.
Why?
Because 3/10 is not equivalent to 106 over 360.
It is not equivalent to 106 over 360, but what's the angle? Not 106, but
Oh, 108.
it's not?
Or maybe I multiplied them incorrectly. But one is 3 repeating and the other is 3. I don't know if that makes them inequivalent.
Let's check. 108, because the calculator will reduce for me.
Oh no, I did 360 divided by 108. They are equivalent.
Okay, so they are. All right, that doesn't make them right though yet. Let's keep going. So he's got the right angle measure, right?
Mm-hmm.
Times pi times.
1/2 the diameter, which is the radius squared.
So what's the deal there?
Yes, correct.
Carl is correct. Yeah, he is. So that means we know Dex is going to be wrong, but why? Why is Dex going to be wrong? Because it looks pretty similar to Carl's. Not going to lie. He just didn't have good eyesight when he cheated. Will, what's wrong with Big Dex?
Is it that is it that AB is a diameter and
Correct. Here's what Dex did. He did this times pi 1/2 d squared. But Mr. Carlino, half the diameter is the radius. What's wrong with Dex? Here's the problem. What comes first, multiplication or squaring?
Square.
Squaring. So what's going to happen first? Squaring AB, which is the denominator. Squaring AB, which is the diameter. You're not going to take half of it first. Order of operation says you need to square it first. And we only square radii over here for the area formula. So that's why Dex is wrong. All right, because he's squaring the diameter, not the radius. So it looks like Beth and Carl are allowed to stay in honors geometry. Any other questions there, concerns? One more? Yep, one more. No need to do all these examples, and you have enough for homework tonight. Little different on this. I give you the shaded sector area. Find a piece of the formula for me. Find angle AOC. Quick question, kids, before we get started. Does it mention what angle AOC, what type of units it has to be in? Degrees or radians? No. So you could use either formula you want. If your answer's in radians, great, we'll accept it. If your answer's in degrees, we'll accept that too. It just says find the measure. It does not specify what type of unit. I'm good. Actually, I should ask whoever's going to get called on here. 18. Owen, what formula are you going to use? The one for degrees or radians?
Radians.
Whoa! All right. Here we go. All right. Wasn't looking at you. Hey, if you're doing it in degrees, do it in degrees. All right. We'll see what the equivalent is at the end. 1/2 r squared theta. All right, Owen, you want to do this? What's the area then? What am I plugging in for A?
12 pi.
Okay, here we go, everyone. 12 pi equals 1/2. What's my radius?
6.
6 squared. And if you guys want to leave theta, you can. If you want to put an x there, you can too. All right, that's what we're solving for. And again, you guys that want to use the area formula, keep pushing. Keep pushing. The degree formula, keep pushing. All right, so I got 12 pi equals, let me clean up this side, 1/2 of 36, which is 18. Everyone's with me so far? Using radians. All right, if I want to solve for theta, or if you have an x there, divide both sides by 18. Anybody want to help me here? Anybody remember last unit? Anytime I knew an answer was in radians, what did it always have with it? If an angle was in radians, what was always attached to it? Pi. Yes, there was always a pi in the radians. Always. So I'm going to leave my pi there. And 12 over 18. You can leave it 12 over 18, or you can reduce it for me if you want. 12 over 18, what's it reduced down to? 2. So 2 pi over 3 would be an acceptable answer in radians. In radians. What is 2 pi over 3 in degrees? I don't know. Anybody doing it in degrees here that wants to give a possible answer? Sophia, what'd you get?
I got, oh, never mind. I got 20 degrees, but if that chart is
20?
scale at all, then I'm wrong.
How you got 20? You did 12 pi equals, I'm just going to say x over 360 times 36 pi.
Yeah, I written that as times 5 times 36, but.
Okay, so the pi's canceled, right?
Yeah.
You get 12 equals x over 360 times 36.
Oh, I had multiplied 36 with the fraction before canceling pies.
So what do you mean? You
So
can't
I-
cross multiply.
I know, I had 36x over 360 times pi equals 12 pi inches.
I don't see why that should be a problem. 12 pi equals 36x over 360 pi. Okay, I'm listening still.
And then I cancel out the pies.
Okay, so you get 12 equals 36x over 360. Still listening.
I multiply both sides by 360.
Okay, and then divide by 36.
Yeah.
And still got 20. Might want to check that again. Might be a calc issue. Or maybe
Yeah, no, I got 20.
20?
720 divided by 36.
I got 100.
12 times 360. Not 2 times. You're doing 2 times 360. It's 12. To get 720, you're multiplying by 2.
Oh, yeah, because that should be 43.
There we go. Then divide by 36. You should get 120. So either answer here is fine depending on what formula you use.
Okay, so that's just calculation.
No, I
Well,
believe it was
chose
an
the wrong
operator
one.
error.
Yeah.
Don't blame your calculator.
Um,
Other questions, comments, concerns? So either 120 or 2 pi over 3 would have worked. Before I let you go, reminder, you have a couple multiple choice questions tonight, and just circling the answer is not going to cut it for credit tomorrow. All multiple choice questions need to show worth. All right, so I'm just warning and giving everyone a heads up now. Don't just circle the answer. You got to show work. All righty, you guys in class can start working on it. You guys at home, any last minute questions? I will not be after today. All right, I've got a meeting after school, so I won't be after, but the rest of the week I should be good. All right, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Behave, be smart. Take care, guys. Hey, right off the bat, that number